I value the good things in life: great food, comfortable clothes, the perfect pour at the end of a long day, and the hardworking people who bring quality products to life. I'm fascinated by how the things I love come to be. So I've teamed up with my friends at Nutrien Ag Solutions and Farm Journal to explore the journey from seed to shelf and to get to know the growers who dedicate their lives to making it happen. How are growers feeding a growing world? Come with me to find out. I'm Brett Griffin. This is Leading the Field. I've made it to Box Canyon Fruit in Tonasket, Washington. We're really close to the Canadian border, and to my surprise, on the northern tip of a desert. I love cherries, and my favorite way to eat them is in my Aunt Betty's cream cherry pie. Let's go find Brett with Nutrien Ag Solutions to learn more about what it takes to make this tree fruit so sweet.
Cherry harvest just around the corner.
Hey, Brett.
It's getting close.
Hey, Brett, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Glad you could come.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to introduce you to Sam Godwin of Box Canyon Fruit.
Hi, Brett. Nice to meet you.
Good to see you, Sam. Man, this place is absolutely gorgeous. So how in the world did you and your family end up here?
My mom and dad started the farm originally in 1966. I grew up on that farm, grew up on that dirt, and really got connected to it. We've grown that original 50-acre farm into 250 acres now.
So it's a family business now.
It's completely family. My wife and I are busy in it every day in our own aspects and ways. I have my oldest daughter who's back on the farm helping with regulation compliance. And I've got a teenage son who's still trying to figure out which way he's going to move. We're only as good as our people and our partners. We've got workers that have been coming to our farm for 15 years. We think of the farm as kind of a living organism that's supporting all of our families. We just happen to get to be the caretaker of the land right now.
That's an awesome perspective.
So
what are some challenges right now, Brent, you're working through?
Well, with Sam's organic farming, we've got pests that you just don't have the diversity of chemicals that you can use like in a conventional scheme of things. So fruit fly is one of those things.
So it's really serious. The other plant disease we deal with a lot is powdery mildew.
Yes.
That's where Brent comes in.
Absolutely.
My role is, of course, helping Sam, stay abreast of issues that may be coming up with pests, the products that are available to him.
He's a trusted source to come in and give me his opinion about what he thinks he sees.
I'm out here at least weekly. Yeah, and then on the phone with Sam quite often.
Well, I know you got a lot to do. Sam and I are going to run because he's going to show me all the ins and outs of cherries, which it just so happens I love. So thanks for your time. We'll see you a little later.
Yeah.
All
Thanks,
right.
Brett.
All right.
Thanks,
See you, Sam.
Bye. This is a great example of a variety that we're probably 6 to 10 days away from being ready. When you look at the cherry, you see it's starting to change. It's a little bit red inside.
Yep.
It'll be blood red when it's ripe.
And look at the moisture in there.
There's standards that are set in the industry to help determine when we should pick it. So if we take a fruit here, I'm going to let you do it.
Okay.
You're going to squeeze the juice on the lens, just like that. Close her up, and then it'll tell you how much sugar's in that cherry.
Looks like about 13, 14.
We want to be a minimum of 16, so that's why we're not picking these yet.
I have a song that just came to mind, and it's "These cherries are the bomb," because I keep hearing explosions. What's that?
Biggest challenge with cherry growing this time of year are birds. We don't call them birds here, we call them cherry eaters. So
They're not a good thing.
they're not a good thing, but the propane cannons you hear, there's some nets, we have some ribbon we'll put in trees. There's what we find about birds is that they get used to whatever you do. So we literally come out and move cannons around. We add ribbons, we've got some balloons that we can put up, and it's just trying to change the environment to make them nervous.
Wow. So when harvest happens, you've got people in here, they're harvesting, they're putting them in their bucket. What are they then doing with them?
Essentially, we start at daylight, so 4:30, 5 o'clock, the crew's here.
Yep.
Because we're racing against temperature.
Okay.
So we start in the morning early when it's cool, and by 80 degrees, we're done. So this cherry, you feel it now, it's a pretty nice firm piece of fruit.
Right.
When it hits 80 degrees, it turns into a sack of water.
Yeah.
So it becomes easier to bruise and damage and have problems. So essentially, we watch the thermometer and it tells us how long a day we're going to work.
Unbelievable.
All the cherries get picked by the stem. We don't want to squeeze them and bruise them. So you can see how they come off. They're in groups of 2s and 3s normally.
What makes this area of the country so great for growing cherries?
Cherries are a peculiar fruit in that if we get a lot of rain when they're like this, they'll explode, right? They'll actually outgrow their skin until they pop. So you need to be in a semi-arid climate so that you can grow the fruit with minimal risk of rain. So you got to have water on the ground, but not in the tree. And then you also have to have a climate that the pests don't like.
So being in this part of the country, you're mitigating risk against insects, climate, and all the other things.
Clean air, clean water, good soil. I mean, that's where it all starts.
That's a great recipe for success.
That's a recipe for success when it comes to cherries.
Speaking of success, your success is harvesting these cherries and getting them to where next when they leave here?
It heads to our receiving station.
Well, let's go see how that works.
Sounds great.
All right, sounds good. I'll follow you.
All right. This is where our heartbeat of our cherry receiving happens. Normally my son is working here and he'll receive the trucks in. 2 really important things happen here with our cherries. We've got to get them cold, and then we also got to make sure we got to count so we know how many we have. It's about getting the cherry in as quickly as we can from the field, getting the heat out of it, staging it, loading the truck, and then getting the truck on the road. It's about a 2.5-hour ride to the warehouse, and then all the fruit gets put into their cold room and their cold chain. The next day it's in the packaging in the box and getting somewhere else in the world.
So what is the timetable for you to get them from the tree into the consumer's hands with that whole process in mind?
Depending on probably the longest ride, 5 days, 7 days.
Yeah.
A lot of fruit that's going export, they fly it in an airplane. So in 3 days it could be in China or Taiwan or wherever.
They're going all over the world.
They're going all over the world.
So you're putting literally a cherry on top of the whole world.
Something big, crunchy, and juicy for someone to enjoy.
Sam, I'm ready to go try some cherries.
Sounds great.
All right, let's go.
Let's go have some.
My favorite part of the day is about to start now, it looks like.
Yeah, this is my favorite part of the day too. My wife has figured out a way to build homemade or make homemade preserves. Those are last year's cherries preserved.
Okay.
And we're going to enjoy them on a homemade scone.
I'm gonna dive in here, guys.
That is really good.
I need the recipe to the scones. I need cherries to go home with. And I need to know how she made that. You won't be in good shape.
Absolutely. Well, we really enjoyed your visit today, Brett. Thank you for coming to our corner of the world.
What's up, old buddy?
Man, just hanging out.
Man, it's hot up here. What'd you think about them cherries?
I absolutely loved them. I learned it takes 2 bites to be a real cherry.
I bet. What'd you think of them views?
Absolutely gorgeous.
It's amazing scenery. If you like that, you're gonna love where I'm gonna be sending you next.
Let's do it.
I'll be calling you soon.
Sounds good.
Battling birds, insects, and heat to put a cherry on top is a big challenge and well worth the effort. Next, we're heading to a sweet corn harvest, but not in the Midwest where you'd expect to find cornfields. We'll be in Florida. See you there, and keep on leading the field.